Why is making friends as an adult so damn hard? What the hell has happened? It is like I feel like the older I get, the more boring I get. We're underestimating the truth. People like you, period. Nobody's mad at you, period. And I'm going to confess something. Boy, this is really turning into like a therapy session. I wish you were really sitting here so you could hold my hand. And these 5 lies that you tell yourself about adult friendship are the reason why adult friendship is so hard. Mic drop. Hey, it's Mel, and welcome to the Mel Robbins podcast. So before we jump into this topic of adult friendship and the lies you're telling yourself, and I cannot wait to dig into this topic with you, I just wanted to take a second and say thank you. For real, thank you. As I'm recording this right now, we are number 6 on Apple Podcasts, of all podcasts. We are number 10 on Spotify. You have made us the number 1 education podcast in literally every country around the world on almost every podcast platform. And you've also made us hit number 1 in health and wellness on so many platforms. I just don't even know how to thank you. I feel like we are building the friend group globally that I've always wanted. And this is so much more than a podcast for me. You know, when I decided I wanted to do the Mel Robbins podcast, I said to myself, I just want this to feel like you're going on a walk with a really good friend. And you're talking about the shit that's going on in your life, and you laugh, maybe you cry a little, you share the intimate details about what's going on. And by the end of the walk, you feel a little better. You learn something new. You got something new you want to try. You wish that you had had a bunch of other friends on the walk with you because you know it would have made a difference. That is the heart and soul of why I'm doing this podcast. And so I just want to also thank you for being my friend, because that's what I consider you. I consider you a friend. And I wanted to talk about friendship today. And the reason why I wanted to talk about friendship is because I am in the middle of a new chapter in my life where I am trying to make new adult friends. And it's hard. And I know you feel the exact same thing. And you know why I know you feel the exact same thing? Because over the past year, as my husband and I have been moving from Boston, where we lived for 26 years, up to southern Vermont in a very small rural town, I've been going through major changes, and I've been posting a lot about friendship. And there was this one post in particular that I put up, and I'm going to read you the quote. And it's a post that I put on Instagram and Facebook. And there's a photo of me, and I'm lying on the couch, and I'm under my fake fur blanket, and I've got my glasses on, and I'm smiling, and it's a Friday night. And this is what the post said. Making new friends as an adult is hard because the people I'd get along with best also don't want to leave their house. So here's the thing about that post. It is the single most viral image I've ever put on social media. Making new friends as an adult is hard because the people I'd get along with best also don't want to leave their house. 140,000 likes, more than 10,000 comments on that singular quote. And it was your comments and your DMs, more than 10,000 of them, that have rolled in about that one post that really took me by surprise. Every single one of you said the same thing. This is me. Same. Boy, you're not underestimating how hard it is as an adult. And this one really hit me. Mel, making new friends as an adult is hard. That statement is true enough to make me laugh, but it was followed by a sigh. Why is making friends as an adult so damn hard? Well, I'm going to tell you why, because I've been thinking a lot about this as I'm trying to make a whole new circle of adult friends. And while I'm also, by the way, trying to stay connected to all of my friends from Boston, it is hard. And one of the reasons why it's hard is because there are 5 lies that I've been telling myself about adult friendship. And I know you tell yourself these same damn lies. And these 5 lies that you tell yourself about adult friendship are the reason why adult friendship is so hard. And so we're going to unpack these 5 lies. And I'm going to tell you why these lies are keeping you from having the friendships that you deserve, from creating the experiences as an adult with new people that you deserve to experience. And then, you know what we're going to do with each one of these 5 lies that you're telling yourself, that I'm telling myself, that every one of your friends is telling themselves, is I am going to reveal the truth, because the truth is what you need to hear. You are capable of creating the friendships that you deserve in life. It is not too late to create incredible friendships. And in fact, I want you to embrace a simple truth. Some of the most important people that you're going to meet in your life are in your future. And if you continue to tell yourself the 5 lies I've been telling myself, you're going to miss out on connecting with them. And so let's get into it, because I am right here shoulder to shoulder with you in this same struggle, okay? I'm 54 years old. I thought by the time I was 54 years old, my life would be a party. There would be barbecues every weekend. We'd be going on cruises and bike trips with friends. I'd have all kinds of downtime to hang out with my buddies. What the hell has happened? It's like I feel like the older I get, the more boring I get. I feel like adult friendship, this is how I would describe adult friendship, at least for Mel Robbins. And I'm sure you can relate to this. Adult friendship is literally bumping into people randomly and being like, oh my God, it's so great to see you. We should get together. And then 6 months go by. And I know we kind of relate to that and we can laugh at it, but here's the thing I keep reminding myself, and I want to put this pin in it too for you. You ready? You're friends and you actually mean it when you say we should get together. But there's something that's standing in the way of us actually doing it. And I'm going to tell you what it is. It's these 5 damn lies. Because these lies are keeping you from doing the simple things that help you create adult friendships. And these lies also make you feel horrible. And these lies also make you and keep you lonely. And so we're going to pack them all. And I want you to just get a couple simple takeaways, okay? You and me were friends. And you're not the only one that feels this way. And there are simple things that both you and I can do that we don't feel like doing that will fix this problem in our life. And it is a problem. Because friendship is so important and having fun is important, and you deserve to feel connected to cool people, and you are a cool person, and so am I. And so I'm going to make sure after we unpack these lies, you have 3 simple tools to turn this puppy around, okay? Because that's what I want for you, and it is certainly what I want for myself. So lie number 1 that you're telling yourself, everybody's life is a huge party. That is such bullshit, okay? We have all gotten sucked into the fake life on social media. Everybody's life is not a huge party, okay? Unless you live in a sorority or a fraternity, your life is not a huge party, okay? And even if you live in a sorority or fraternity, you may be lonely. You may not like the people that you're surrounded by. And so stop telling yourself this lie that everybody else's life looks like a huge party. And here's why you need to stop telling yourself this lie. It's so damaging because when you sit there and you compare where you're at to people's fake lives on social media, you are comparing yourself to something that's not true. And you are invalidating your own life experience. And let me just stop and let's role play here. How is sitting on your couch scrolling through social media? Oh, they're going on vacation together. Oh, look at that nice bike trip. Oh, those people got together for a bachelorette party. Oh, everybody's life is a party but mine. How does that make you feel? Does that make you feel excited to text the friends that you have? Probably not. What does it do? It puts you in a mental death spiral that makes you start to swirl the toilet of comparison. It makes you feel like a loser. It makes you feel left out. And yet you probably spend an hour a day on social media just staring into the lives of strangers and convincing yourself that everybody's life is a party except for yours. No one's life is margaritas in Ibiza. That may be what influencers do, but that's not what normal people do. And the reason why you have to stop telling yourself this lie is because you will never feel motivated to make the effort, and you will never feel worthy of the kind of friendships you deserve if you are constantly swimming in the toilet of comparison. So, what is the truth? What do you need to do to turn this around? Truth number 1, If you want your life to be a party, create it. That's truth number one. I'm guilty of this too. I'm guilty. I always know when I'm coaching myself because I go, that's number one. I always raise my voice because I'm also kind of trying to get you to listen, but I'm also like, hey, Mel, stop looking at everybody else and saying, there's the party. Why am I not invited? And look in the mirror. If you actually want that for yourself, create it. I remember there was a period in my life where my business was really taking off and I was on the road all the time. And it was also that moment in time when our kids had gone from middle school into high school. And something interesting happens when you are in that area of your life where you are raising kids. And so as you listen to me tell this story, you can think about it from the lens of being an adult and raising kids. Or if you don't have kids and you're in your 20s, you can think about friendship from the same lane. Because, when you are raising kids or when you're a young kid, you travel in packs. Everybody's at the same soccer thing. You tend to hang out with people after, soccer's on Saturdays. Your parents are friends with the kids the parents of the kids you hang out with. And then something interesting happens around middle school. Kids start to peel off into club sports. You start to have your own preferences of friends, and the friend group starts to fracture. And when high school rolls around and you have more independence, you now can drive or you can get rides with your friends. You are on your own. And that huge friend group that you used to travel with, it sort of shatters and you only see people kind of at games or at big events. And for me, it was happening at the same time. My career's taking off. I'm traveling all the time. We're now in high school, so there's not that large organizing thing that happens when you're younger as a kid and when you have young kids. And I started to realize I wasn't seeing my friends. Where did all my friends go? And I started to swim in the toilet of comparison. I would get home at the end of the week from work and I would look on social media and I would see people out at the country club that we didn't belong to posting photos. And I would see other groups of people. Maybe it was people who had sons on the same soccer team, but our daughters, were hanging out with and they're getting together. And I started to convince myself everybody's life is a big party. And this is why this lie is so damaging. You tell yourself you're not invited to the party. You start to feel like a loser that nobody likes. And I felt that way for a couple of years. And finally, one day I said to Chris, we just don't get invited anywhere. And Chris turned to me. It's so interesting. And he said, well, when's the last time we invited anybody over? Mic drop. Thank you, Chris Robbins. If you want your life to be a party, start throwing them. And stop telling yourself the lie that the party is somewhere else and you haven't been invited. Create your own. So that's truth number one. Okay? Truth number two is this. If you're swimming in that toilet of comparison and you're telling yourself everybody's life is a party but mine, and you feel like a loser, I want to tell you something. You don't need a lot of friends. This is a huge myth that I think that modern life has slammed in our face thanks to social media, because now we're aware of what everybody else is doing. The truth is, and this is based on research, that you don't need a huge group of friends. If you got one or two really close friends, I'm talking the kind of friendship that runs deep in terms of trust. If you have what researchers call a 4 a.m. friend, what is a 4 a.m. friend? A 4 a.m. friend is somebody in your life that if you called them at 4 o'clock in the morning, just because you wanted somebody to talk to, they would pick up. I want you to stop and think for a minute. Let's say that you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and there's nothing really wrong. It's not like you have an emergency, because I think in emergencies, there's lots of people you can call. But let's just say it's 4 o'clock in the morning and you wake up, can't go back to sleep. You're feeling kind of lonely. You just want somebody to talk to. Who would you call? For me, I know I would call Jody Bricken. She's my best friend from elementary school. She has trouble sleeping. She's probably awake anyway. Hi, Jodes. And she would pick up. I would call Amy. Amy is sitting right across from me right now. I could absolutely call Amy. I can think of a couple people. I would call Gretchen Larkin. I would call Lisa Schwartz. There are a bunch of people in my life I could call. So I'm doing okay. If there was one human being that popped into your mind that you could call at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I know there is, you are doing okay. And I also have a confession to tell you. As much as I am jealous of what looks like huge parties, and as much as I am the kind of person that thinks she wants to always be at a huge party, the truth is I'm very extroverted in my work, but I'm really introverted in my personal life. And I think it's important for you to hear it's okay if you're not the big girl gang or guy gang type of person. There's nothing wrong with you if you just prefer to run in a small circle. Now, I think my circle has gotten so small, it's basically become a dot because of COVID, but we're going to get into that when we get into some of the other lies. But I need to say that loud and clear. It is a lie that everybody's life is a huge party. That's number one. And the truth is, if you want a party, start throwing one. And the other truth is, you don't need to have a huge group of friends. You know, I often think about the fact that, some really fun memories that you'll have is with an enormous crowd of people. Like, think about being at a huge wedding, right? The band is playing, you're dancing like crazy. It's super fun. You're surrounded by family. You got some friends there. All the friends that you go out and party with, are any one of them your 4 a.m. friend? Probably not. Probably not. And we're going to get into this as we talk about the other 4 lies that you keep telling yourself. So let's keep going. Lie number 2 sounds a little like this. I don't fit in. Or maybe you say this to yourself. People don't like me. That's me. You want to know what is going on in the Mel Robbins head here? It's people don't like me. Or another way I would say this, you're mad at me. I just presume I've done something wrong. That's how screwed up my wiring is. I'm working on this, as you know. And so I'm going to continue confessing how this plays out in my life, because I know you look at me and you're like, you think people don't like you? But you are like the most confident person on the planet. Like you show up, you roll into a room and things are on fire, Mel. Like what do you mean? What I project is very different than what the voice in my head is programmed to say. And that's why it's a lie. My voice in my head tells me a lie, and the voice in your head is telling you a lie too. Here's how this plays out for me. I am the kind of person that is always trying to read people's emotions. I wonder if people are upset with me. In fact, I don't even wonder if people are upset with me. I just presume that they are. I'm the type of person that would put emojis behind any kind of text if I feel like that might be taken in the wrong way or might hurt somebody. And here's what I'm learning from the Mel Robbins podcast as we interview these experts and as I dig into your stories and DMs with you, is that this is complete tomfoolery. It's not true. This is garbage from my childhood. This is attachment theory stuff. Clearly, I have an insecure attachment style. If I'm constantly worried, clearly I've got coping mechanisms and wiring that I developed when I was little that I don't want anymore as an adult. And so why is this lie so damaging? People don't like me. Well, let's role play this one. If you're sitting at your house or in your car or scrolling on social media and you're telling yourself the lie, I don't fit in, people don't like me. On a scale of 0 to 10, how motivated are you to put yourself out there? How about negative 27? That's how motivated you are. You are not only not motivated, you are more likely to hide. Because if you believe, because of this lie you've been telling yourself, that people don't like you, why on earth would you put yourself out there? This is why I need to shake both of us by the shoulders. This is why we got to start reaching for the truth. This is why we've got to combat this awful programming that tells us the lie that people don't like you. It's not true. And I'm not just saying that because I like you. I'm not just saying that because I know you're a good person. I'm saying it because there is research around this. It's called the liking gap. And this research, hold on to your hats, people. This comes from psychologists at Cornell, Harvard, Yale. So we're talking smarty pants research here. This means we got to believe it, okay? It's called the liking gap, What is the liking gap? It's this lie. It's the tendency to underestimate how well liked you really are. See, you feel awkward about reaching out, and so do I, due to this liking gap. We don't reach out because we don't think people like us. We're underestimating the truth. What's the truth? People like you. Period. Nobody's mad at you. Period. Stop living your life as if somebody's mad at you. How about we flip this instead? How about you start living your life assuming that people like you? What a radical idea. What a radical idea to walk into work and say to yourself, people like me here. What a radical idea to walk into a party this weekend or to a networking event and go, people like me here. I mean, that is a revolutionary idea. And I will tell you something. I struggle with this. I struggle with this a lot. This is one that I'm really working on in my own life. And I'm telling you this because I want you to work on it. And I'm going to confess something. Boy, this is really turning into like a therapy session. I wish you were really sitting here so you could hold my hand. So when I was launching the Mel Robbins podcast, I was told that the best way to grow a podcast show is to be interviewed on other podcast shows. I mean, it's kind of obvious, right? And here's the truth. I have a lot of friends that host podcasts that are really successful podcast hosts. Jay Shetty, Lewis Howes, Jenna Kutcher, Amy Porterfield, Koya Webb, Glo Antonimo, the Billius, the list goes on and on and on. And when I was getting ready to launch this, I was telling myself this lie. People don't like me. If I reach out, it's a burden. Because if you are hesitant to ask for support, it's because you're telling yourself deep down this lie that somebody doesn't like you or that they're going to be mad at you or burdened by you. And I am telling you that I struggle with this. And so there were a couple friends of mine, Jay and Lewis and the Billius and Rich Roll, that all said, hey, and the Boss Babes, they said, hey, I'd love to have you on the show. And I didn't reach out to anybody else. Do you want to know why? Because of this lie. Because there was a part of me that was like nervous that when somebody received a text from me, even though these are my friends, I was trapped in the liking gap, which in my opinion is like another toilet we swirl in. We swirl in this toilet of comparison, and now we're also in the toilet of, do you like me? No, actually, I've decided that you don't. And here's something kind of wild, because life gave me a really important lesson. So the show launches, and we just explode in terms of popularity. And within a week, we got 500,000 downloads, and we're on the top of the charts. And I got a text from a very good friend of mine, Brendan Bouchard, somebody who has helped me in some of the worst moments of my life. He is just a gem of a human being. Please check him out. He's awesome. In fact, he just launched a killer marketing podcast. If you're in business, I would check that sucker out. He texted me. And he said that I thought twice about texting this to you, but have I done something wrong? And when I read that, my heart sank. I'm thinking, why does he think he's done something wrong? And he said, I saw that a bunch of our mutual friends were supporting your podcast launch, and you didn't ask me. And it stopped me in my tracks, because there's a reason why I didn't ask him. He was launching a podcast network at the same time. And he had helped me so profoundly with the High Five Challenge and Growth Day. And I felt like I just couldn't burden the guy anymore. Why? Because I was telling myself a freaking lie. What's the lie? That people don't like me, that I'm a burden, that I can't ask for help. It's complete garbage, everybody. In fact, when you don't ask your friends to support you, they feel like your life is a party and they're left out. Isn't that unbelievable? We're all sitting there swirling in this toilet of comparison and assuming that people don't like us, and it's not true. So let's leverage the research from Cornell and Harvard and Yale, and let's be smarter about this. Let's not let our emotions and our insecurities from childhood ruin the potential of amazing adult friendships. Because when you tell yourself that lie, now you know it's destroying your desire to reach out. And here is the truth you need to live by, and I need to live by. People like you more than you think. So you better start acting like it. Now, let's move on to lie number 3. Lie number 3, BFF. Remember that from middle school? We're BFFs, BFFL, BFFs for life. Let's get the matching necklaces of the heart that is like kind of broken in half, and you'll wear one and I'll wear the other. Here's the reason why best friends forever is a lie. Best friends aren't always forever. Friends come and go in your life, even your best friends. Friendships fade. They fizzle out. And I've even experienced that over time, sometimes that best friend that faded or fizzled out because life just does that, it's a natural part of life, sometimes you find your way back into each other's lives again. Now, the reason why I believe this best friends forever is a lie is because it puts pressure on you. It puts pressure on you to label a friendship, and it puts pressure on you to hang on to things just because you've spent a lot of time with somebody. And when you hold on to friendships that no longer feel like a great connection or feel energizing or support who you're becoming, you know what happens when you are friends out of obligation? You start to feel resentment. And the other reason why it is so important to stop telling yourself, you got to be best friends, we got to be best friends forever, best friends forever, is because that pressure that you're putting on yourself to hold on to things that don't feel right anymore, that's the reason why you don't have room for new people to come into your life. And look, if you've been best friends forever and it's working for you, that is freaking awesome. I'm talking about the lie we tell ourselves that if you don't have a best friend forever, somehow you're damaged. If you don't have that lifelong childhood friend, somehow you're an idiot. That if you don't have best friends and you walk around in a squad and you've got Halloween costumes where you're all matching, you've screwed up your life. It puts pressure on you that is completely manufactured, and it's totally unnecessary. So what's the truth? The truth is, you may not always be friends with somebody forever. And that's good. That's good because you want friendships in your life that support your growth. You want friendships in your life that have a mutual exchange of energy. And you need to take the pressure off yourself. And you got to expand the way that you think about friendship. Because when you look at BFF, not as best friends forever, but best friends are flexible. It creates room for growth. It creates room for the kinds of friendships that come in and out of your life based on what you need and what you can give. Doesn't that sound nice? I think it sounds really nice. So here's kind of a new way to think about friendship. It's flexible because friendship is mutual. It's supportive. It's a connection that is based on energy. It's based on what your passion is right now. It's based on what your goals are right now. It's based on the effort that you're putting in. And it's not necessarily based on history. You've experienced this. There could be somebody that'll walk into your life next week, and it's literally like you knew them forever. They were the exact person with the exact energy and vibe that you need right now. And that doesn't mean that you're no longer friends with the people that you've been friends with for a long time. It just means that if best friends are flexible, it means that they come in and out of your life in terms of intensity. And I think a lot about this right now because I've just moved. I've moved from a community that I was in for 26 years. I'm still on my text chain with my next door neighbors. I'm getting the texts about the fact that there's a fox running around or coyotes or this, or does anybody know a person that can dog sit? And I'm also still really good friends with all my girlfriends that were in moms groups together and, people that I've come in and out of my life. But I now live 3.5 hours away. And so if you're flexible about friendship, you take the pressure off. And you know that just because you don't see people all the time doesn't mean you're no longer friends. It's going to take a little bit of effort. This idea of flexible friendships is so important. And I want to add a framework to it, okay? We're going to dig deeper into this when we get to the tools near the end of this, which you have to hear because I want you to use them. But being flexible about friendship is super important because here's the truth about friendship. Friendships fade because when your priorities change, so will your friendships. And I can give you a bazillion different examples of this. Let's say that you're the first of all your friends to get married. You'll start to notice that you start hanging out with other couples more. Why? Because the pattern of your life changed. If you're flexible with friendship, you don't put pressure on yourself. You don't start to go, oh, are we still friends? Are we not friends? You just know that it's going to require a little bit more energy because the patterns of your life has changed. If you start to see the world differently, maybe because you're now a vegetarian or you've stopped drinking or you've gotten very active with social justice or you are really committed to your health. The patterns of your life just changed. And your friendships will also change. And that's why you need to be flexible in your friendships because again, what is the purpose of your friends? It's literally for this mutual supportive exchange of energy that helps you become a better you. Another reason why is that as you start to grow, everything about you changes. And things are going to start to feel forced or draining because they were connected to the old you. So when you realize that a relationship is getting forced, right? Or that it's draining you or it's taking way too much energy, be flexible. And by the way, you've been that person for somebody else. As somebody else has been trying to grow or as their interests have changed or as the patterns in their life, they got a different job, they moved to a different state. Doesn't mean you're no longer friends. It just means it's not as close of a friend anymore because the connection's a little off. The energy, that's okay. You're allowed to grow. You're allowed to move on. And instead of making yourself wrong, instead of feeling guilty, instead of gripping it or forcing it, just be flexible. Just direct your energy in a new relationship. Move toward the people that feel like the light, that feel energizing, that feel like they're aligned with where you're headed, instead of holding so tightly to the folks that were with you in places where you've been. It's all good. It's all good. And by the way, when you do that, you create space for something new. It's a beautiful thing. Lie number 4 is really simple. You do not need to be everybody's friend. You can't be everybody's friend. The truth is, not everybody is meant to be your friend. And the second that it feels like a force, be flexible, okay? Here's one of the things that I love to think about, is that you can be the whole package, but if you're delivered to the wrong address, not going to work. Another quote that I've seen that I just love is, you could be the most amazing, juicy, end of summer ripe peach. But if you don't like peaches, you're not going to be a fit for that person. Doesn't matter how good you are. Remember, flexibility. I want you to understand this because when you tell yourself, oh, I got to be liked by everybody. Everybody's got to like me. I got to be everybody's friend. That lie turns you into a people pleaser. That lie is why you are in your head going, do they like me? How do I need to change? I know I'm a peach and they don't like peaches, but maybe if I disguise myself as a plum, they'll actually like me. Stop doing that. Embrace the fact that you're a peach. Embrace your whole package and stop forcing yourself to be liked by everybody. The reason why this lie is so important to catch is because there's nothing wrong with you. The more you embrace who you are, the more you're honest about what works for you, the more you show up as your full self. Imagine that. Imagine assuming that people just like you, that juicy peach that you are as you are. Imagine if you just assume, imagine if you're flexible. Imagine who might show up. Somebody who likes peaches. Wouldn't that be a wonderful change? That's why you got to catch that, because this is about energy. This is about you and where you are in your life and where you're going, matching with beautiful human beings that are on that same leg of the journey with you. That's what this is about. So be flexible. And man, you are a juicy peach. Embrace that stuff. I love peaches, by the way. That's why I love you. Lie number 5. Get ready. You're going to hate this one because I hate this one. I'm too busy. I'm too tired. I don't want to go out. I'd rather just stay home. I have social anxiety. I'm an introvert. Yes, I've said all these things to myself too. Here's the truth. Friends are critical to a happy life. Friends are the thing that make life meaningful. You deserve amazing friendships, and you deserve to be an amazing friend. You know, for a long time, I've shared a lot about this. I have felt really freaking lonely. And I'm okay being alone. I got no problem walking into a restaurant alone, rolling up to the bar, sitting at the bar and having dinner by myself. In fact, I kind of like doing that. I have no problem going to see a movie alone. I have no problem going for a run or a hike alone. There's a big difference between enjoying time by yourself and being lonely because you don't have friendship in your life and you don't feel a sense of connection or community. And for a really long time, that was me. And the lie I was telling myself is I was too busy. I became addicted to busyness as a way to cover up the fact that I was really lonely. My friends were working. Our kids are all launched. Everybody's scattered in a bazillion directions. I felt like I wasn't seeing my friends. And guess what? My friends felt the same way. Nobody's life was a big party. Everybody is just in their cars, driving here and there, sitting at home, working remote, trying to navigate this crazy thing called life, particularly these last 3 years. As our kids have gotten older, at least in my case, I find that they need me more, not less. And so I am just like in my little tunnel. And it turns out so are you. Everybody feels this way. It's not just you. And here's the lie. You're not too busy for one of the most important things in your life. You're not too tired to make the effort for something that brings meaning. You're not too shy or introverted or whatever to make the effort. And I'm really worried about where we are right now. And I'm worried about the fact that because of COVID, that we have got a new default. And the new default is staying home. The new default is, it used to just be that it was hard to get to the gym. I think for a lot of us, it's actually hard to get out of your house if you're working there all day. And it takes a lot of effort. I talked about this in our episode, Motivation is Garbage. We talked about something called activation energy. Activation energy is a fancy pants term that I think was developed by that famous psychiatrist at University of Chicago, Csikszentmihalyi, I think is how you say his name. And activation energy is the force, like we're talking physics, we're talking rocket fuel force that you need to push your rear end out of your house after being on Zoom calls all day to go see a friend. It is so easy to opt out of the book club tonight. It is so easy to not go to that new hockey league or the intramural soccer thing or the lecture at the library because we've gotten used to being alone in our homes. This is so dangerous to your happiness. Do not let the fact that you've gotten used to being home be the reason why you don't 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 push your rear end out the door and make the effort, because the effort's small. The reward is everything. It's enormous. It's profound. In study after study after study, and there's one famous study, you may have heard of it, called the Harvard Men Study, where they studied, they followed groups of men that had graduated from Harvard for over 60 years. So they followed them from their entire adult life. And at the end of the study, it was 100% conclusive that the thing that brings the greatest meaning in your life is the people that you have surrounded yourself with. Now, let's look at that sentence, that you have surrounded yourself with. Sitting at home alone is not how you surround yourself with people. And you and I both know it, and we're both guilty of this. and move into a new town like many of you have during COVID. How many of you literally changed up your whole life? You had this reckoning. You're like, that's it. I'm going to relocate. I'm going to change things up. And now you sit at home alone. You have to make the effort. So that's what we're going to talk about next. You have the 5 lies. Let me summarize them for you. Lie number 1, everybody else's life is a huge party. Not true. Stop saying it to yourself. Either go make a party or just focus on making a few great friends and stop making yourself wrong. Get out of the toilet bowl of comparison. Lie number 2, people don't like me. That is a complete lie. You now have the research. Let's use the truth from Cornell, Harvard, and Yale. And people like you more than you think. Start acting like it. Lie number 3, BFF. Stop saying best friends forever. Stop putting pressure on yourself to be friends with everybody forever. It creates resentment. It is a total lie that you have to do it. Let's tell the truth. Friendships need to work for you. Friendships come and go, and the best kinds of friendships are flexible. So take the pressure off yourself and tune into what you need in this stage of your life and where you're going, and move toward the people that feel warm, that feel light, that feel energizing, that are supporting where you're going. Be flexible in who's coming and who's going. It is the best way to do this. Lie number 4, I need to be everybody's friend. No, you don't. No, you don't. Not everybody is meant to be your friend. You get to be selfish here. Stop putting pressure on yourself. Remember, you are a juicy peach. You got to find people that like peaches. That's what you deserve, okay? And finally, the final lie that is keeping you from having the adult friendships that you deserve is telling yourself you're too busy, you're too tired, you're too this, you're too that to make the effort. The truth is, this is one of the most important aspects of you creating a better life. There is nothing other than your mental health that deserves the effort more. And by the way, you start working on developing some great friendships and your mental health is going to improve too. And that's not just Mel Robbins telling you the common sense. That's research, folks. All right, I got to take a short break. But when we come back, I got 3 incredible tools that I'm using that I want you to use. Because you and me, I know we're friends, but I want you and I to start making more adult friends and support each other in doing it together. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're still here with me on our walk. We're 2 juicy peaches talking about friendship. So tool number 1, I promised 3 tools. Tool number 1 is a framework. You're starting to realize Mel Robbins, she loves her frameworks. And here's why. I think advice is boring and intellectual. And so I like to have metaphors and frameworks because it helps me to truly, make it stick. So here's one of my favorite frameworks for friendship. You've probably heard it. There are 3 types of friendships, and this helps you be really flexible in your friendships. It also helps you to remind yourself of the truth, okay? So here are the 3 types of friendships. You ready? And this framework is, there are friends for a reason, there are friends for a season, and there are friends for a lifetime. That's it. And if you think about people coming and going in and out of your friendship zone in a flexible way, because they're either there for a reason, or they're there for a season, or they're there for a lifetime, you now no longer are gripping. You can be flexible. You can assume people like you. You can stop holding on to the wrong people and trying to force somebody who's just there for a reason to try to be a lifetime friend. This is such a helpful framework. Let me explain it. So these people are in your life for a reason. These would be work friends. You see them all the time because you work together. They might be the parents of other kids that are on your kids' sports team, or they might be people that are on your team, right? That you're playing sports with. They're there for a reason. They might be your neighbors. They're there for a reason. These are great friends to have. They're there for a certain period of time. They're there to teach you something. They're there to support you on a leg of the journey called life. These are awesome friends, but don't grip onto them. Be flexible with them. Let them come in and out of your life. Love them up. Enjoy them while they're there with you. And then at some point, when you no longer have that reason to have those friends in your life, they sort of fade a little bit. They're still your friends. I guarantee you 10 years later, if you were good friends with your neighbor, they would certainly help you out. So would your friends at work. This is why flexible friendship is such an awesome concept. Now let's talk about a season. So these are folks that are there typically a little bit longer. They're there for a chapter, a season. So they might be the people that you met in college. And you were really, really close friends during college. And you were really, maybe you roomed together after college. But then people start peeling off. They start heading in different directions. They maybe move away to different cities or they get married. And so these are close friends for a certain season of your life. And, I find that I had a lot of really good friends that I was friends with when I was a young mom. That was a really amazing season in my life. I will cherish that season of my life. I had so many close female friends because we were all doing life in the same season at the same time. And when that season ended, and my kids went to middle school and then they scattered even further in high school. And then all of a sudden the bomb drops on everything when they go off to college and that season of my life was over. In fact, it had been over for a long time. And so seasons are a beautiful thing. And I'm in a new season of my life. I'm beginning a new season here in Southern Vermont. And I bet you're beginning a new season. So many of us had a reckoning with ourselves about what really mattered during COVID. And it's why so many of you made major changes like my husband and I did. And it's why those of you that haven't are probably thinking about major changes because you haven't truly accepted the things that you were processing around COVID and the changes that you would like to make. And so friends for a season are amazing, absolutely amazing. Just love them. And when the season changes, be flexible because a new season is beginning, which means a new seasons of friends are going to emerge. And lifetime friends, those are those 4 a.m. friends we talked about. And remember, you're doing pretty dynamite if you can think of that one person that you could just pick up the phone at 4 o'clock in the morning and call. And you know that they would pick up and just chat with you just because you wanted to talk to a friend. So, tool number 1, use that framework to enforce this flexibility. Reason, season, and lifetime. Don't force people into the wrong category. This is a big one. Please stop being mad at people for not being who you want them to be right now. Sometimes some of the most generous and beautiful and loving things that you can do for people is to graciously let them go and let them grow and let them be who they need to be in this season of their lives. Now let's move on to tool number 2, which you are probably going to hate, and that is you need to take action. That's going to require you to step out of the comfort zone of your couch and the comfiness of a Friday night alone, binge watching TV, and push yourself to get out of your comfort zone and make the effort to make friends. And this effort part's really important. There was this enormous study done at the University of Kansas, and this was mind-blowing to me. And I found it to be, again, another very helpful framework because I think, you're not a dummy and neither am I. I know that if I sit alone in my house, it's not like friends are going to come calling and I'm going to suddenly have strangers show up that are going to become my new friends in this season of my life. I know I need to get out of the house. You know you need to make the effort, but we're not. And frameworks and research help me go, oh, this actually is a big deal. Oh, if I do want to change this and I want to stop feeling so lonely and I want to stop swimming in the toilet of comparison and dislike and insecurity, I got to climb out of the toilet. That makes a lot of sense. But this research from University of Kansas kind of blew my mind because it puts friendship into a timeline and hours perspective. Making friends, check this out. They studied how many hours it takes to make a quote friend. And this is fascinating. That as a student, it's very different than what it's like to make friends as an adult. This is why it can feel hard, because most of our lives, we were in seasons where we were forced to be in groups. Like think about how you're in a group in elementary school and that's how you meet your friends. And then you're in a group in middle school and that's how you meet your friends. And then you're in a group in high school and that's how you meet your friends. And then you're in a group in college and that's how you meet your friends. And then all of a sudden your 20s hits and boom. Everybody scatters. And you're like, where the hell did my friends go? In fact, I did a interview with Alex Cooper, who hosts Call Her Daddy. The episode is called Where Did All My Friends Go? And we focused on this phenomenon in your 20s where you feel like you don't have any friends anymore. And the reason why is because for the first 25 years of your life, your friendships were basically handed to you because you were in settings with large groups of people moving at the same pace through life together. And as soon as you graduate, you're on your own, baby. It's a whole big world out there. And if you think it's hard in your 20s, wait till your 30s, 40s, and 50s. And now you have the tools, so we don't need to freak you out. But this is normal. And we require effort. And this University of Kansas study explains this. So if you're in college and you're like swimming in the sea with all these people doing the same thing at the same time, it takes you about 43 hours to become an acquaintance with somebody. Now, you're sitting in class together. That's part of the time. You're eating in the cafeteria together. That's part of the time. You're hanging out in the dorm room together. That's part of the time. When you're an adult, to become a casual friend, it takes you 94 hours. Why? Because your patterns are very different when you're an adult. You don't have as much overlap. It's why you tend to become friends as an adult with people you work with because you spend more time with them. It's why you're friends with people that you live near because you spend time with them. This is not just common sense, it's researched. And in order to go from just a casual friend to a really good friend, if you're a student, it takes about 57 hours, which makes sense because you're spending more time together. So you're sharing more experiences together. For adults, we need about 164 hours. That's so sad. This is why it's so important for you to have this perspective and for you to understand it's going to require effort on your part. And that's okay. Knowing that everybody feels this way, knowing that everybody's at their homes alone under the fuzzy blanket on the couch, feeling like a peach that nobody likes, swimming in the toilet of comparison, feeling like friendship is so hard. Knowing that, I hope is helping you go, oh, well, maybe I could be the one. Maybe I could get all the peaches together and we could make a pie or some jam or some cobbler. That's what I did this weekend. I'm going to tell you a quick story because I think it's really important. So here I am. I always say, please come visit me. I live alone on a mountain in Vermont. I'm lonely. But the truth is, I've met a bunch of really cool people up here. And every one of us say the same thing. It's amazing living here. And I really want to meet some friends. I really want to get together with people. I want to stop saying, let's get together and not make plans. And so I'll tell you a quick story because all it takes is leaning toward your curiosity. That's all it takes. I walk this loop all the time. That's right by my house. It's a beautiful loop. It's about 4.5 miles. And I love flowers. I know there's 5 love languages. I have a 6th. Flowers, flowers, flowers. I'm like a psycho about flowers. They remind me of my parents. I love growing them. I love bringing them into the house. I just love flowers. And so this year, I've been walking this loop for 26 years. When I would visit my in-laws before we bought their house, and now it's our own. And all of a sudden this year, there was this insane flower farm that popped up. And by flower farm, I mean this patch of flowers, like an acre big. And in the spring, it was this row of gorgeous double peony tulips and French tulips and parrot tulips. And I would do this walk and I'd stop and I'd take photos, and you've probably seen them on my Instagram stories. And then as those came and went, then ranuncula came up, and it was this like triple petal ranunculus and peonies. And I'm like, oh, it's like flower porn for me. And then now there's these field of dahlias. Like dahlias are mind blowing, just gorgeous flowers. And there was never anybody there, ever. There was no sign, no nothing. And I became obsessed, you guys, with stopping by this flower patch. Just drawn to it like a moth to a flame. Oh my God, I just loved it. I would like Sound of Music with the flower patch, and I'm taking flowers, and now I feel like an influencer that's 20 years old, and I need a cowboy hat with a feather in it so that I can do the festival photos that everybody does. And I just flower porn all day long. And all of a sudden I see a truck parked there one day. And the truck, thankfully, had a contractor's label on it. And lo and behold, that same label was on a truck here at our house because we're under construction. So I walked over to the and I'm like, hey, do you know this flower field? And he goes, yeah, I park my car there every once in a while. I'm like, do you know who the person is? He's like, yeah, that's Annette from Fleur Farm. I'm like, what? And I think she's on Instagram. I'm like, what? So I DM her. Oh my God, I've seen the flower. Blah, blah, blah. And then she DMs back. Oh my gosh, really? It's a labor of love. It's a hobby. A hobby? Yeah, I work full time. And I've been really worried about like how I'm going to get all the dahlia bulbs out. And I'm like, well, I'll help you. You'll help me? And so next thing you know, just by following the energy, following the connection, leaning into this season of my life, leaning into the curiosity, I DM her, she DMs back. I come to find out that she has been planting flowers in this new season of her life. She sells bulbs online. She is going through some stuff personally. And I'm like, well, I know some other women. I'll get these other women that I know to come and hang out with us. And I will, I'll see if we can't like make something happen. And so we get 13 women to show up at the flower field on Saturday. I didn't know any of these women. And I knew some of them. I knew the ones that I invited. And then the friends that I invited invite other friends. And it was this army of new women here in southern Vermont that showed up to help another woman dig dahlias out of a field on a Saturday. And she and I have been texting ever since. So I met all these new people. We connected over something we're interested in. We now have a group chat called the Dynamite Dahlia Dames. And so Annette and I are texting. Wait to hear this. When we both showed up, she said to everybody, I'm so overwhelmed because I'm so alone and introverted. I never think anybody would help. I have trouble asking for help. And so as we're texting, she writes, I'm so grateful for everyone's kindness and presence and the joy there was in the field this morning. It's been a hard and a lonely path thus far, building a vision shovel by shovel, digging my way to a new life. Boy, I relate to that. I really relate to that. And then suddenly, out come all these fabulous women. Yes, I'm very, very happy because that morning was my highlight of my week too. So the challenge now is leaning in again and setting a date again and moving the ball down the field. Because as we know from that University of Kansas study, that it takes time and it takes effort. And we all need each other to be making the effort. And so the final tool that I'm going to give you is something that is so simple and so impactful. And I have so many friends that now do this, that I'm stealing this from. And it's very simple. Every single day, make it a habit to text a friend. Just out of the blue. And if you want to amplify this, take a selfie video. Hey, I'm just on my walk and I was thinking of you. And hey, my dog says hello. And you not only underestimate how much people like you, you underestimate how much it means to somebody when they hear from you. This isn't just me. This is research that was covered in the New York Times recently about how receiving an unexpected text from a friend makes you immediately feel connected to that person, and it makes the friendship stronger. Make it a practice every single day as you start your day to reach out to one friend with a random message. In fact, I want to share one with you. So I love my friend Glo Antonimo, and she's an incredible author and podcaster and just puts out incredible content and motivational speaker, and I learned so much from her. And she is so great about this. I want you to listen to this random message that popped in my phone literally a month ago. There was her beautiful face just sending me a video message, and I'm going to play it for you because I want you to listen to it as if she's sending this to you.
Mel, hello. It has been almost a month since our last video message. I was reading one of my daily devotional type books, and I thought of this. And I'm like, who can I send this to? And you came to my heart, so I'm going to read it out loud. You are human. You will make mistakes. Hopefully, you'll make a whole lot of them because that means you are trying. And trying means you are fully alive. It also makes life a hell of a lot more interesting. So here's to making more mistakes. Here's to living. And here's to appreciating the ebbs and flow of life. You know, It's hard for us to like maintain equilibrium. Like we try to go through life chasing and seeking comfort and just staying happy and staying positive. But sometimes in those moments and in those seasons and those valleys of depression or sadness, you know, we're meant to get something from that. And then when we come out of it, it's like we have so much more appreciation. So no need to respond. Just wanted to bless you with this message. Thinking of you, sending you love. High five.
That just like makes you feel good. And so here's what I want to tell you. I want to tell you, I love you. I believe in you. And I believe in your ability to stop telling yourself these lies and to really embrace the truth. The truth is you deserve amazing friendships. You need amazing friendships. And you are that amazing friend that somebody who is going through a very lonely season, digging their way to a new life, needs desperately right now. So 54321, as soon as we're done, I want you to text a friend of yours and level it up. Send a video and let's level it up again. Send them a link to this episode. Because the more that we get everybody reaching out and the more that we create this ripple effect, the more we are helping people get the things that they deserve and find the courage to take the actions that create it and make it a reality. Thank you for being a friend of mine. Thank you for all of your beautiful reviews and your comments and for sharing these episodes. Thank you for just hammering our website with recommendations for experts and authors and interesting people you want me to interview. Thank you for submitting questions. I just love you, and I love our friendship, and we're just getting started, man. We're going to do so much cool stuff together. That's it. I got to go. Hey, it's Mel. Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed that video, by God, please subscribe because I don't want you to miss a thing. Thank you so much for being here. We've got so much amazing stuff coming. Thank you so much for sending this stuff to your friends and your family. I love you. We create these videos for you, so make sure you subscribe. Mwah.